and the director of the Austin After Dark Film Festival. We have Austin After Dark Film Festival Fall 2022 coming up on the 7th of November. Just a couple short weeks away. We're going to be featuring all kinds of films and screenplays, things that are intended for a mature audience, everything from horror to horror comedy to uh, animation to dark science fiction to dark drama, suspense, action. Please don't bring the kiddos. It'll be a fun event, but some of the content may be a little bit much for them. But we are going to have a lot of fun and featuring filmmakers from all over the world. And we are joined today by RJ. What's up, buddy? Screenwriter who has a screenplay called The Darkest Shade, and it's a Best Dark Drama Screenplay Award finalist at this festival this year. So excellent writing. Glad to finally meet you. This is like your second screenplay in our competition, and we're just excited to have you.
It is. It is my second. It is my second year in a row. Actually, last year I did a full-fledged slasher. Strangely enough, because this one is almost completely different. This is a Lovecraftian horror. So that cosmic sort of stuff where um, the two main characters who are in it are bogged down by stuff that just keeps happening to them, and it gets wilder and wilder as it goes along.
Wow. Yeah, good job with both. Both very different pieces, but the judges definitely enjoyed both, earning you award nominations for both, which is just an outstanding accomplishment. And just for the audience who doesn't know, where are you located right now?
I'm actually in Brisbane, Australia.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time with the time difference and all that good stuff to join us
It's
for
like
today.
almost 11 o'clock at night here.
Yeah, I'm just waiting. I just took the kids to school, so. So let's get into this thing. I want to give the story away. This is a very cool one, but I'm going to let you put it in your own words.
Well, basically, it's about two parents who are dealing with the death of their little girl, who passes away when she's 9 years old from a respiratory illness. But you find out that the reason why she has this illness is because she's been venturing into the shadow realm, which is basically another dimension. And if you go in there, you can't breathe, you can't do all this. Got all different sets of rules and regulations, and there's creatures in there, and it's very inspired by things like Silent Hill, and there's really like H.P. Lovecraft type stuff where creatures, these bizarre things, just attack people, and there's like once you go in, you kind of can't get out. But the overall story of it is about these two parents who are going through hell of their own, and I just wanted to exaggerate it in a way where you could almost turn this tragic drama into something that was a bit more palatable for the audience, especially the horror audience.
Okay, yeah, you definitely achieved it with this. And what is your creative inspiration for this one? Is there any kind of a old house that inspired you, or maybe someone, maybe a story you heard? Like, how did you come up with this one?
Well, actually, funnily enough, this is actually the most personal of all of my stories that I've written over the years. I mean, when I was 3 years old, my sister, who was younger than me, actually, she died by an accident. I won't go into it, but essentially, she wasn't 9 like the character, but I wanted the little girl in my story to be a little bit older because I don't think that the audience would really like the idea of a child, um, you know, under the age of 3 dying. There's certain things you can get away with in real life that you can't get away in art. So, but yeah, this is very personal for me. I based both main characters on my parents and how their relationship sort of fell apart. Um, Except with my story, with the darkest shade, I wanted it to be a bit more positive with the way that it was developed, so that the characters are sort of distanced from each other and separate and everything. But by the end of the story, they come back together, and fairy tale ending where they get back together and everything's all fine, sort of thing. Except obviously the little girl doesn't come back to life.
Well, I appreciate you being so transparent about, where that kind of origin story came from, and sorry for your loss. That's
Well,
it's
it
amazing
happened
how.
like 40 years ago. So,
Sure.
once you get over it, you sort of are able to almost milk it for all it's worth, in a sense, so to speak.
I mean, obviously, I hear you. It's a very impressionable moment, and writing and creating from the heart is I think what the judges recognize is your characters and your story seem very personal. It seems like people that you know. It seems like normal people. It doesn't seem like some group of fictional superheroes or something. And I was going to ask you, when you're writing your stories like this, are you envisioning, for all your characters, maybe not just the main character, but are you envisioning like actors already in place? Are you interesting? Like, are you thinking to yourself, I'm going to write this one for a certain actor, or are you trying to keep like a blank slate and hope that it translates into?
Sometimes, I mean, sometimes definitely there are actors that I would like to cast in the roles, and whether or not I can actually get access to them is the big question at the end of the day. I mean, when I wrote this, I sort of pictured someone like Jason Schwartzman, who is more famous for like Rushmore and works a lot with Wes Anderson, in the lead male role, because he's not your typical big bulked up sort of actor. He's not like he's not like Chris Hemsworth or like Hugh Jackman, or those big actors that have muscles from here to yonks. But he does exude a sort of level of humanity, and given that this is, like I said, a Lovecraftian story, um, the characters need to be normal, or little people compared to the things that they get into. And with the female lead, I wanted to get somebody that was South Korean, because here in Australia there's this big thing about interracial marriages, particularly between Asians and Australians, or like just Caucasian people in general, and it's quite rampant here, which is good, but it makes for good storytelling as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, interesting. Interesting. I didn't even realize. I mean, how do people view that? Is it embraced? The whole.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of my greatest friends, who is the head of the Australian Film Industry Network, he's actually married to an Asian woman, and as far as I can tell, I mean, I mean, I don't want to be racist here, but I'm
Sure.
pretty sure she's Chinese,
Mm-hmm.
and instead of South Korean, which is what my main character was. But
Gotcha.
I'm pretty sure it's not all that frowned upon here. Whereas 20 years ago, when I was growing up, there was a lot of racism
Sure.
towards it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, interesting. I mean, I have no idea. Never been there. I wanted to hear, like, from a local, like how it really goes. And
But yeah,
that's.
there's definitely more racism towards Indians here, which is a shame, because some of them are very lovely people.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Sure. You're talking. Yeah. I don't know all the local. I got to get in and like see the local politics and see how it all goes. I really haven't considered it. But get back to your story. It's again, the judges felt like everybody was believable. All the characters were people they could relate to. It seemed like something that was easy to cast and not really all that expensive. I mean, I guess you have a visual effects fantasy thing going on in certain ways, kind of a dark fantasy, if you will. It's hard to actually pigeonhole the exact genre. I think you cross over into quite a few things.
Yeah, well, it's psychological horror, and I mean, there definitely is psychological thriller, cosmic horror. There's humor in it as well in some places. You're absolutely right. It definitely is a hybrid of a lot of different things.
Are you planning to say put together a production company and go for it and make it, or are you thinking to yourself, let's try and partner up with somebody who just wants to make a great story and release it? Maybe take
I
it
would
over.
absolutely love to make it myself, but here's the thing: is what I'm actually doing at the moment, and why I'm doing it is I'm actually collaborating with an independent comic book company to develop a four book graphic novel. They're called Free Fall Comics, and what I want to do with The Darkest Shade is to put it in comic book form first. That way, it's twofold, really. The first reason is because that way, if somebody else comes up with the idea or something similar or whatever, in the meantime, while I'm trying to get the film off the ground, at least I have something there that goes, this was an original concept by me, and it allows me to get away with not being a copycat, which is, important thing for me. And number two is it allows me to have a visual representation of what I want to do. So when I walk into a producer's office, I go, well, this is what I've done so far. This is what I want to do. If you're not with me, then that's fine. I can go elsewhere. But if you are, at least you know that I'm passionate enough to have this for you.
Okay. All right. Well, exciting stuff. It's exciting to hear what you may be doing in the future with this film or the screenplay. I hope it gets made. Is there anything else that you want to add before we go?
Yeah, I'd actually absolutely love to say thank you to Austin After Dark for accepting my feature script. It took, I think, 15 months to write the whole thing, really. So it was a huge undertaking, even in script form, and getting to the stage of being a finalist at your festival, it's just hits home. So
Yeah,
thanks for that one.
Thank you. We appreciate your submission, and like I said, you do good work. We can't wait to see more of your work in the future. If someone wants to get in contact with you, what's the easiest way?
Basically by Facebook. I don't usually use Instagram and Twitter because I don't really have a lot of time. But if somebody messages me on Facebook, I pretty much always check my messages there, and it's always open, even if I'm working. So.
All right, good stuff. Well, thank you for joining me. And we got your Facebook link in the description if anyone wants to reach out. Have a good one.
Thank you.